Hello everyone and welcome back to Luxy Vita. Today we'll talk about The Line, Saudi Arabia's $1 trillion city, and we know you'll be shocked to see what the idea for it is like. So without further ado, let's get started. The Wall Street Journal found out that Saudi Arabia has an ambitious plan to build the world's largest structure in the northwest of the kingdom. They did this by looking at hundreds of pages of secret planning documents that showed for the first time how the plan would work. In the northwest of the kingdom, the plan is to build the largest building in the world. The building, which will be called the Mirror Line, will be made up of two glass skyscrapers that will reach heights of up to 488 meters or 1,600 feet and run parallel to each other for 120 kilometers or 75 miles over coastal, mountainous, and desert landscapes. Under the two towers, a high-speed train will run and walkways will connect the two buildings to each other. It is expected that the finished building will cost a whopping $1 trillion. It is also expected that it will be able to house 5 million people, and it will take 20 minutes to walk from one end to the other. The documents looked at were from the year 2021, and they had concept drawings for things like an integrated vertical agricultural system, a marina for yachts, and a sports stadium built up to 305 meters or 1,000 feet above ground. The building is in the center of Crown Prince and de facto ruler Mohammed bin Salman's project called NEOM to make a smart city that uses no carbon. NEOM is expected to cost an extra $500 billion to build and will be about the size of the United States state of Massachusetts. NEOM is owned by Saudi Arabia's Sovereign Wealth Fund and is part of a plan called Saudi Vision 2030. The goal of Saudi Vision 2030 is to make Saudi Arabia's economy less dependent on oil and make it more diverse. The deadline for building NEOM is 2030, but according to the Wall Street Journal, an initial impact assessment of the Mirror Line from January 2021 said that the development would have to be built in stages and could take as long as 50 years to finish. Morphosis Architects, which is based in the United States and was started by Tom Main, who won the Pritzker Architecture Prize, designed the Mirror Line. At least 9 other design and engineering experts also worked on the project. The brochure is very eye-catching. It shows 2 mirror-encased towers stretching more than 100 miles across a desert and mountain landscape and giving 9 million people a place to live in the future. Is it the best way to live in a high-density area, or is it just a big-scale version of a science fiction story? In short, economists, architects, and analysts don't really know what's going on. Even the people who are working on the Line project don't know if it will ever be completed because it's such an expensive plan to make Saudi Arabia into an urban utopia. The Line is the name of the project. The architects think that the building will stay at a comfortable temperature all year long because it will use a combination of shade, sunlight, and airflow. But the idea of living behind huge walls in the middle of the Saudi desert didn't go over well with everyone. "I've never seen something more dystopian," one commenter wrote in a reply to a video of the Line posted by the Saudi press agency. The Crown Prince of the Kingdom, Mohammed bin Salman, talked about the most important parts of what he wants to be one of the most ambitious urban developments ever built. The building is meant to be the most important part of the futuristic NEOM site, which is near the Gulf of Aqaba. Even though NEOM was first introduced in 2017, its planned extras like flying taxis and robot maids have never failed to catch people's attention. This is despite the fact that architects and economists have questioned whether or not it's possible. The Saudis think that artificial intelligence will be a big part of how people live in the 500-meter-tall, 200-meter-wide building, which will be car-free and carbon-neutral and will have a microclimate that is temperate and controlled. Environmental activists have been skeptical of the kingdom's environmental claims in the past, such as its goal to have net zero carbon emissions by the year 2060. What used to be a vague idea that even some of the people who designed the project had trouble picturing has been given color by the multimedia presentations that have been made available. The pictures were made very well, and they show a huge city with hanging gardens and some parts that look like the Death Star. A statement says that residents will be able to get all daily needs within a 5-minute walk. They'll also have access to outdoor skiing facilities and a high-speed train with a 20-minute transit from end to end. Even though NEOM will have its own foundation law, which is still being made, Saudi officials have said that they do not plan to lift the ban on alcohol that is currently in place in the country. Prince Mohammed's vision for modern life is at the center of his work to move the kingdom away from an oil-based economy and a traditional society, which he thinks is not good for moving the country forward. NEOM was partly made to break away from tradition and the rigidity of the 4 decades before it. During that time, leaders doubled down on a strict interpretation of Islam, which kept society's rules rigid. NEOM was also made to break away from the stagnation of the past 4 decades. The real leader of the kingdom said that the line is by far the most livable city in the world. He said that the model he had in mind would be an alternative to uncontrolled urban development and waste, which had caused the standard of living in cities to go down. Prince Mohammed has said that the first phase of the project will last until 2030 and will cost about £265 billion or 1.2 trillion Saudi riyals. He said that the private sector and government subsidies were both possible sources of funding and that NEOM's first public offering was expected to happen in 2024. In private talks with advisors and planners, he has said that one of the goals for the kingdom is to be as well known around the world as other countries in the area. This includes having its own unique take on the pyramids. But because of how expensive the project is and how many different shapes it has taken over the past 5 years, some analysts are starting to doubt whether or not it will ever be built. One expert who works well with the Saudi government said that moving forward with the project is a big leap of faith since there isn't much access to the site and there isn't much time left before people are expected to move in. And then there's the system's inertia, the speaker went on to say. It's hard to do that in real life. The idea has changed so much since it was first thought of, says Robert Mulganiski of the Arab Gulf States Institute in Washington. Sometimes it's hard to tell if it's going to get smaller or bigger or take a sharp turn to the side. Prince Mohammed wants a big increase in the number of people living in Saudi Arabia. He thinks this is what is needed to turn the country, which exports the most crude oil around the world, into an economic powerhouse. That's why NEOM was built in the first place, he said. If you want to increase Saudi Arabia's capacity, get more citizens and people to move there. And since we're starting from scratch, why should we try to make Saudi Arabia look like other cities? He thinks that NEOM could create up to 380,000 jobs. This is because the population is growing and there are a lot of young people looking for work. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and comment down with your thoughts on the line, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.